accomplish the same things that I'm going to show you on the robots.txt file, and it's called meta robots. We're not going to get into that. It's something completely different. We are going to just talk about this one file. I'm going to keep this this is 101, like the sign up said, robots.txt 101. Very basic and just the need to know, everything that you need to know. And we're not going to get into too much complicated stuff. I am not a programmer. I'm not a PHP person either. So anything that you can accomplish with plugins and the easier way, that's what I'm all about. So what is a robots.txt file? Essentially, it is a file that you install on your website. And you know what? I'm not going to keep saying robots.txt because that is a mouthful. I'm just going to say robots, and you guys know what I'm talking about, okay? So robots it has one very simple purpose. It instructs Google, and I'm also not going to say all the other search engines because when we talk about search engines, mostly we're talking about Google. They're the big kids on the block. They're the ones who kind of set all the rules. Are you scoping? Hi, scopers. They're the ones who kind of set all the rules and the standards, and everybody else follows along, so we're just going to say Google, and you guys know I mean search engines in general too. But your robots file tells Google how to crawl your website. It's an instruction, kind of like a roadmap for search engine bots. It allows you to control what pages are crawled and what pages are indexed. Do you guys know what I mean when I say crawled and indexed?
Not really.
No.
Index, yes, crawled.
Okay. When search engines send out their little bots to all the websites that are on the internet to crawl them, the bot goes and looks at all the code that's on your website to read what your website is about, what kind of content is there, what your keywords are, what your title tags are, what the layout of it is. That's what the bot does when it comes by. It crawls your site. So think of it as, you know, an actual little robot, a little automatic nanobot, and it's crawling all the code on your website and gathering that information. And then it goes back to Google and says, okay, this website is about this topic, and it has these keywords in it, and it's pretty good, and it has a lot of pages, so you should probably rank it here. That's what the Googlebot does, okay? Indexed, Google takes that information and puts it in the index. That is what allows it to show up in search results, and I'm going to call that SERPs, which is Search Engine Results Pages. When you go to Google and you search, and a page comes up that has all those results on it, that's a SERP, okay? So the Google goes and crawls, gathers all that data and information, gives it to Google. Google runs it through all its many, many complex algorithms and comes up with, you know, it takes all that data and says, okay, that's what this site is about. This is what it's when it's going to appear. When people search for these words, this page is going to show up, and it's going to show up here, and it puts it in the index so that people can find it. Okay, does that make sense? All right, so your robots file allows you to control, to a certain extent. You can't really always ever fully control what Google does. Google's going to do what it wants to do. But you can give it instructions, and you can give it suggestions. I want you to crawl these pages. I want you to leave these pages alone. You can go ahead and crawl these pages, but don't put them in the index. And you're controlling, by doing that, you're controlling what people, or for the most part, controlling what people see in those SERPs when they search for keywords or when they search for your site specifically, okay? And we'll get into more detail. Excuse me. So why would you want to control search results? Does anybody have any idea, suggestion why you would want to do that?
You wouldn't want to, like, if you had like a login page, you wouldn't necessarily want someone to search, okay, login for whatever your
Hackers.
Right, so it just gives them more knowledge about possible exploits.
Exactly, that's a good one. Somebody else was speaking up. Is there another one? All right, cool. Yes, that is a reason. I'm going to show you another one. This is search results for a former client of mine. Can you guys see that okay? Yeah. So it's a company called Woodruff Sawyer. And don't pay attention to this part up here. That's their ad. As you can see, it says ad next to it. We're only talking about the organic results. Okay, so ignore that stuff. I should have taken it out of my screenshot and I didn't, so I apologize. But we're just looking at the organic results there at the bottom, okay? So I didn't search for anything that Woodruff Sawyer does or any of their products or any of their services. I searched for their company, okay? So that's a pretty good, should bring up some good results and let you know what this company is about. So we've got contact us, our people, careers, open positions, about us, and then their Portland office. They have like 15 offices around the country. It's a big company. So, okay, why would you want to have your contact us page show up in search results? Maybe, you know, if you're a local company, like if you're, you know, San Antonio Roofing Company or something like that, something that's more local. If you're a dry cleaner, some kind of business where you actually go into the physical location to conduct business with those people, then you probably would want contact us to show up. This company that is massive and has 15 offices all around the country, and they are not, it's not like Allstate where you go in and buy a policy. The kinds of insurance that Woodruff Sawyer sells, they insure, you may have heard of this, and actually there was a movie about it too, Captain, what was that movie with Tom Hanks? Captain Phillips? Right. So they insure those big companies against piracy and kidnapping of their, I'm not even making this up, kidnapping of their executives, you know, insuring the company's properties and assets. So we're talking multi-million-dollar insurance policies. So this isn't, you know, just anybody walking in off the street buying an insurance policy from them. So contact us, not really doing a whole lot of good. Then we've got our people and about us. Well, that's kind of the same thing. If you go to any site's about us page and it's a big company, that's your about page is probably going to be the top level page, and then within that you've got the executive team and then the management team and then everybody else, maybe possibly, you know. So that's kind of the same thing going on there. And then we've got careers and open positions. That's definitely the same thing. Definitely do not need to have that showing up there twice, right? Excuse me, if you want it to show up at all. And then we've got one office of the many. Their headquarters is in San Francisco. They've got an office in Portland, as it says, Seattle, everywhere, a lot of places. I think they might have one here. No, it's in Dallas, I think. So this is why you want to be able to control those search results, because this is not helping anybody. What's missing from those results? Again, not looking at the ad at all. What's missing?
What they do.
What they do and their services. That's not helping anybody at all. This is extremely valuable real estate. If you can get, these links here, these are called site links. I call it a six-pack. The pages that show up in your six-pack, that's important. Those are what you have, that's how you get people to click through and come to your website, okay? Now, if I am, you know, a big company corporate executive and I am looking for piracy insurance and I search for Woodruff Sawyer and I see those results, I can still find their services, but what am I going to have to do? I'm going to have to click on one of those links and then go looking, go digging, find where's their nav menu, how do they have it laid out? Hopefully they have it laid out well and I can find what I'm looking for. You're making me jump through hoops. You're making work for me. You don't want to do that. You also, if, let's say I didn't search for Woodruff Sawyer, let's say I searched for corporate insurance, corporate liability insurance, and Woodruff Sawyer comes up, I want that to be one of those results because I want somebody to go right there. If I'm in the market right now to buy what they're selling and I see it there, I'm done. I'm halfway to the purchase, okay? And this is, you know, whether you're selling books or you're selling any kind of service or you're selling the crafts that you make on the weekend, whatever it is that you're trying to sell, or, you know, even if it's just a blog, even if you just have blogs, blog posts, you want these things to show up in these results so that you're not making people jump through hoops to find you or to find what they're looking for, okay? Excuse me. And I kind of just said this. But yeah, some of that is repetitive. And, you know, in addition to just their services not showing up, really they've got the careers page showing up twice. It's terrible. So they have some work to do there. And we talked about that. Okay. So yeah, and there's nothing to tell them what services they offer, again, not looking at the ad. So if I was just searching for corporate insurance and Woodruff Sawyer pops up, but I don't see anything related to the kind of insurance I need, I might think, well, I don't know why that popped up, and I'm not going to click on it. And I just said all that stuff. Okay, yeah, we talked about navigation. I'm getting way ahead of myself, you guys. I told you we're going to be done soon. Okay, so yes, back to the robots. Okay, so having looked at that and having seen, what can happen when you don't take some time to optimize your site. That's the other thing. If their site were better optimized on their service pages, those pages would probably be showing up. So they have some work to do. As Yusuf mentioned, this is only one tiny component. This is one little piece of the giant puzzle that is SEO. SEO is not flipping a switch. It's not, I'm going to just change my URLs and make them look pretty and boom, I'm going to have thousands of visitors to my website tomorrow. There are numerous things that you can and in many cases should be doing with your website to optimize it, to make sure that you're getting visitors, to make sure that you're making sales, to make sure that you're accomplishing whatever your goal is with your website, okay? So your robots file will allow you to tell Google which pages you want to show up and which ones to leave out. Excuse me. Okay, so let's talk about the anatomy of a robots file, what it actually looks like. The first line is user-agent : ****. What this means is a user agent refers to the browser and the browser type that a person is using when they come to your website, okay? So browser could be Chrome, Firefox, not Internet Explorer for much longer. You shouldn't be using that anyway. And then the browser type is going to be either desktop or mobile, and when you get into mobile, then you've also got phone or tablet. It gets down to that nitty-gritty. Excuse me. So user agent is how someone is coming to your website. The asterisk, and you guys probably know this from other things that you've been studying, or if you do any kind of other programming, the asterisk usually stands for whatever. It's like a wild card. So user agent, anything, whether somebody's using Chrome or Firefox, whether somebody's on desktop or mobile, because you don't want to exclude anybody. You can, it is possible. I don't see why you would want to. If you want to be a snob and exclude people who are using Internet Explorer so you can force them to start using Chrome like they should be doing, no. You want everybody and anybody to be able to get to your site no matter what they're using. So that's what that stands for. Okay. And yeah, I just explained that. Okay. There are 6 rules that you can use in a robots file. We're going to talk about 3, and these are the most common. Allow, disallow, and no index. Allow means this page is allowed. You're allowed to come to this page. You're talking to the bots, okay? But by labeling certain pages disallow, by default, any page not labeled disallow is allowed. So you're not really going to need to use allow. It's easier, than saying if you've got 50 pages on your website saying allow page 1, allow page 2, disallow page 3, allow page 4. No, you don't need to do that. Disallow page 3 and all the others are allowed by default. Done, okay? Excuse me. Disallow tells the search engine, tells the bot not to crawl that page at all. Bot gets to the page, it sees the command disallow, it leaves and goes to the next page. Theoretically, that's what it should do. That's what that command means. I don't want you on this page, don't even look at it, nothing to see here, move along. And it should go away. No index tells the search engine, okay, you can crawl this page, you can come and look at it, but once you've looked at it, I don't want it in the index. So you can see what's on it, but don't display it to everyone else when they're searching for my site, or if my site pops up in search results via a search with related keywords, I don't want this page to appear, okay? So, how do you know which pages to disallow and which pages to no index? It is up to you. A lot of SEO, you will find, is very subjective. When you're talking about SEO, a phrase that we use very often is best practices. There are no SEO rules. There are no SEO regulations. There's no, you're going to get an SEO ticket if you do this wrong and you did it this way instead. No. SEO, as I mentioned a little bit ago, there are a lot of tactics and strategies within the massive thing that is SEO. But a lot of it is going to depend on what you're trying to accomplish. And yeah, some of it depends on your opinion and what you think is a better way to do something. You can ask 100 different people who practice SEO how to do something and you'll get 98 different answers. Okay? That's just the way it is. So performing SEO and optimizing your site entails learning as much as you can about it, and then forming your own opinion of what you think is a better way to do something, and then implementing that strategy or that tactic yourself and going with it. A lot of it is also testing, though. You know, if you see, we're talking about robots. Okay, so what's the best way to set up a robots file? Well, this person says to do it this way, but this other person says, nah, you don't need to have that in there, just do it this way. So you try it that way first and see what happens. No, that page that I didn't want to show up and the search showed up, so now I'll try this other person's. It's a lot of A/B testing.
Yeah.
Excuse me, in all facets of SEO. So why would you want to disallow a page? One reason, and there are a lot of reasons, but one reason is to avoid a duplicate content issue. Google frowns upon duplicate content. Your site can be, I don't want to say penalized, you can lose ranking position. If you have, and when I say duplicate content, it's exactly what it sounds like. I have 2 pages on my website that have the exact same content on them. Or my site, a page on my site has the exact same content that this other website over there has. So that's something that you want to avoid, is having duplicate content. And sometimes that's going to be impossible to mediate, or remediate, I should say. There's only one way to describe how to start a car. You put the key in the ignition, you turn the key, and the car turns on. And then if you've got a website that about cars that explains that, and then your website about driving and explains the same thing, that's just the way it is. And Google is smart enough to realize that and to understand that, so you're not going to get dinged for that one. But if you go and copy someone else's stuff, yeah, then, in addition to duplicate content, we're also getting into plagiarism, which, no, you don't want to do. In any case, talking about your own website, though, you do not want to have the same information in more than one place on your website. Now, for example, the WordPress tag subfolder. How many of you are familiar with or are using currently WordPress? Okay. So, are you guys not familiar with WordPress at all? Kind of? Okay. So, it's a content management system. It's not just for blogs. That's how it started out, was for as a blogging platform. It's much more powerful now. There are, I don't think they do anymore, but at one point Ford Motor Company was using WordPress for its website, and you never would have known to look at it. It's not just a blog anymore. It can do a lot of things. The reason why a lot of people use it is that it's powerful, it offers a lot of security, and it's easy to use. The user interface on the back end is very easy to learn. Another reason why a lot of people use it is because you don't have to be a programmer to use it, because WordPress has plugins. So if I want to, like we were talking about Yoast SEO, if I want to be able to optimize my site easily and I don't want to have to get into the htaccess file and possibly end up seeing the white screen of death, which I have done, you don't want to mess with that. I'll put Yoast in instead, and then I can optimize my site more easily and not break it. If I want to have social icons on my blog, I can use a plugin for that instead of having to program them by hand. Okay? So the WordPress tag subfolder, the reason why I'm pointing that out is within WordPress, when you create a blog post, I don't think you can put tags on pages. Can you put tags on pages? No, it's just posts, right? Okay. So when you create a blog post in WordPress, you can categorize it in 2 ways. With a category, and you usually only want to use one category, especially if you have a category appearing in your URL. Excuse me. And I'm going to get way off track if I keep going there. But anyway, and you can also use tags. So if I write a blog post about, I don't know, if I have a cooking blog and I write a blog post about cupcakes, I might have tags like vanilla cupcakes, chocolate cupcakes, frosted cupcakes, cupcake tops, whatever kinds of stuff I want to tag it with. Every time you put a tag on a blog post, another page is created with that same content on that page. Every tag page has the same content. So now you have a blog post in 5 different places. The blog post's main page, and then every page where for which you've created a tag, not to mention the author archives and the date archives, and oh my gosh, now you've got a massive content duplication problem, duplicate content problem on your site, okay? I don't recommend using tags at all, they're unnecessary, but if you do, you will want to, I recommend, disallow your tag subfolder so that Google, when Google comes by, it doesn't get into your tag subfolder, it doesn't see all that duplicate content that's there, it only sees the posts on that main post page where they reside, and then you're fine. Then you don't have a duplicate content issue. Okay, why would you no index? One thing about Google is that it likes larger websites. When you're first starting out and you create a website, you just a brand spanking new website. You've got your home page, maybe you have an about page, maybe a blog, and then if you're selling, let's say you're selling your crafts, you've got a page of the few things that you already have in your inventory. It's a really small website. Nothing wrong with that. You have to start somewhere. But when Google comes by, it's like, that's a really small site. There's not a lot going on there. So when people are searching for things, there's probably not going to be a whole lot of stuff there for them to see. So we're going to rank this one a little bit lower because there's this other craft site over here that has 500 pages. Chances are, when people are searching for crafts, they're going to find what they're looking for on this site that has a lot more information already. Okay? So one reason why you'll want to no index a page is because let's say the contact page, for example. Getting back to that Woodruff Sawyer example again, contact is not really necessary in there. But you do want Google to go ahead and crawl it because that's another page in your favor. So instead of a 4-page website, now you've got a 5-page website because you've also got a contact page. But you don't need that to show up in the index. Is this making sense? Okay. So that's one reason. And when I say Google likes larger websites, I'm talking about valuable and relevant pages, not just, okay, so I'm going to sell my craft, so I'm going to make one page for every, product. No, maybe that's not the best way to do that. Don't get into just making pages just for the sake of, having a 25, 50-page website that looks bigger, but it doesn't really have a lot of good, valuable information on it. Okay? Excuse me. Okay, let's see. So here's an example of what a robots.txt file might look like. And I say might, let me stress this. Again, this is a suggestion. This is a possibility. This is not an instruction manual. This is how you have to do it, or your site is messed up and broken. No, this is one possibility, okay? So this is for a WordPress site. So we've got the WordPress admin, which, like you both mentioned, you don't want your login page to show up. So we've disallowed the WP admin. And then we've got the WordPress content subfolder, which is where everything that you upload to your WordPress site is stored. Your images, any text files that you upload, they all get stored in the WP content folder. You don't really need that crawled because your images are already going to show up wherever you put them, on your blog post, on your pages, whatever. You don't need them crawled in the folder too. Talked about the tag. I mentioned the author, that's why, duplicate content. Now, on my site, for example, I have a privacy policy which it's just a good idea to do, even if you just have a simple blog and you're asking people to provide information like their name and their email address when they comment. If you have an e-commerce site, you definitely want to have a privacy page because people are probably giving you their credit card numbers. So you want to lay out your privacy policy for them. I'm not going to sell your information. I protect your information with a secure socket layer if that's what you're doing. You explain all of those things. So again, you want that page crawled because it's another page in your favor that is counted in the total number of pages on your website, and because you want Google to know you have a privacy policy. That's a good thing, okay? But you don't need it to show up in that 6-pack. You don't need it to show up when someone searches for you. or your site or a keyword related to your site for which your site pops up, you don't need your privacy policy showing up. So we're going to no index that. Same with contact. We talked about that. Yeah, you want people to get in touch with you, but unless you are a local brick and mortar business where you rely on people either coming to see you or calling you, lawn services or dry cleaner or car insurance, those kinds of things, you don't really need to have your contact page showing up in the SERPs. So we're going to no index that. We're also going to no index the robots.txt file itself. There's no reason for that to show up in the SERPs. You do want Google to be able to crawl it, obviously, because this is the file that is giving them instruction. If you disallow your robots file, you're shooting yourself in the foot. All of these commands that you put in here to tell the bot how to crawl your site, if you disallow that, it's not going to see it at all. It's going to crawl everything, and then it's going to go haywire, and I'm going to have all kinds of stuff showing up in the SERPs that you don't want. So you do want to let it be crawled, but I would recommend no indexing it. Same with your sitemap. Your sitemap Google needs to be able to see your sitemap. That's what it's for. Is another way to show Google what your site is about, how it's laid out, what its structure is. Excuse me, but there's no reason for that to show up in the SERPs. Those two things, those are for the search engines. Nobody who is just a regular user or customer or reader needs to see either of those files. So those don't need to show up in the index, okay? Does that make sense, all of that? Mm-hmm. Okay, so again, that's what a robots.txt file could look like. These are just examples and suggestions, not hard and fast rules. There are, however, some robots no-nos. User agent and then disallow and just a slash. That is normally just the slash denotes your home page on your website. If this is your entire robots file, you've just disallowed the bots from your entire site. They can't get in at all. Googlebot's going to come by, see, oh, disallowed. Okay, well, I'm out of here then. And then when somebody goes and searches for you, even if they search for you by name, you're not going to show up because you didn't let the Googlebot in there. Theoretically, you may still show up, probably not though. I've actually seen that happen where even when you search for the brand name, it did not show up in the search results, did not show up in the index because their robots file looked like this and they had completely disallowed. They had locked the bots out, okay? So you don't want to do that. Excuse me. You also probably don't want to do that. That's just allowing everything. And all the stuff we just talked about, we've just thrown that out the window now. Not wanting your contact page to show up, not wanting your privacy policy page to show up, not wanting your robots or your sitemap files to show up. Everything is in the index now because you just told the bot, hey, go crazy. Look at everything. Put it all in the index. I don't care. Go for it. All your stuff's on the index now, in the index, which means that any page on your site can show up in the SERPs when somebody is searching either for your own website by name or when your site pops up related to a keyword that is used in the search performed, okay? And here's another one that you don't want to do if you have a WordPress site. You do not want to disallow your plugins subfolder. The reason for this is that a lot of plugins use JavaScript. Google needs to be able to see the JavaScript on your site because in addition to seeing what that plugin is doing or making appear on your site, JavaScript on your site is also going to tell Google how your site is laid out and the site content, the visible content, and the layout. JavaScript gives Google a lot of information about your site. If you disallow the plugins folder, you're not letting Google see some of that JavaScript that your plugins may be using, and you're denying Google some information about your site, and that can, again, shoot yourself in the foot. You can not see a good result from that. Okay, where to edit your robots file. We were talking about this, and this is where we're going to talk about the Yoast SEO plugin. By the way, when we say Yoast SEO, they did just change the name. It was,
When did they change the name?
Oh, with the last update.
Oh, wow.
Like a couple days ago. It was called WordPress SEO by Yoast, It is now, they just caved, and they said this in the update, we caved. Everybody calls it Yoast SEO anyway, so fine, it's Yoast SEO officially now, so that they changed it. Yoast comes from the gentleman who created the plugin, and he has his own little digital marketing empire. His name is Joost de Valk. His website is Yoast.com though, and actually that's probably, it's not Joost, it's Yoast, because that's, oh, I just got that.
Yeah.
That's how you pronounce his name.
Right.
But it's Joost, so it looks like Joost.
Yep.
Anyway, so, but he spelled it with a Y for, you know,
Mhm.
silly Americans. So anyway, that is why it's called Yoast SEO. It's the guy who created this plugin. And like I said, it's, I don't want to flip out and get into the, I have bad luck when I try to get out of my presentations and show you stuff on the internet. I end up, something happens with this laptop and I don't know, Windows 10. So anyway, I don't want to get out of it to show you, but I'm going to show you a couple of screenshots. Anyway, the first place you'll find it is when you have Yoast SEO installed in your WordPress website. You'll find it in the sidebar, and those of you who are not familiar with WordPress, you'll just have to take my word for it. There's a sidebar on the left that has all your stuff. That's how you access your pages and your posts and your plugins and everything you've got going on. So you'll get down to Yoast, it just says SEO. You'll click on SEO, you'll click on Tools, and then on that page you'll click on File Editor. And that is going to bring, oh, there it is right there. So when you get to Tools, you'll click File Editor. Oh shoot, I didn't take a screenshot of that. I'm sorry, you guys. Okay, when you click on File Editor, it takes you to another page. The top is your robots file, and you can edit it in there. And then below that is your htaccess file, which unless you really know what you're doing, I do not recommend that you even touch it because you will break your site if you don't know what you're doing with that. htaccess file can be used for a lot of things. One thing is a 301 redirect. If you've created a page on your site and it's been up there for a year and then you decide you don't want that page anymore, you want this other page, instead of just deleting the page, which means that if anybody goes to that page, they're going to get a 404, which is bad. You don't want too many 404s on your site, which is page not found, page doesn't exist. You can 301 redirect it instead, so that when somebody clicks abc.com page 1, it will automatically go to the new page, abc.com page 2. Okay, that's one of the things that you can do with an htaccess file. But there are also many plugins to accomplish the same thing, so I recommend going that route. So anyway, so this is how you will access your robots file in Yoast. Another thing you can do though is when you install the Yoast SEO plugin, anytime you create a new page or post, you'll have a little, there's a box that will appear below your page or post editing area. And it looks exactly like this. It offers, you see there's 4 tabs there: General, Page Analysis, Advanced, and Social. The General page you're going to use more often than anything because that contains fields to customize your title tag, which is the most important SEO element on your page, on any page, title tag, and your meta description. And you do always want to customize those 2 things. Title tag helps you with ranking. Meta description does not help you with ranking, but it helps you with click-through. And if you don't customize it, Google will just pull random text from your page. It may be something good that's enticing to get people to click through, it may not be. And it'll also probably be truncated. So you want to make sure that you customize your meta description. But if you click on the Advanced tab, which is where we are right now, you'll see this is Meta Robots that I was talking about a little bit ago. So if you, this drop-down menu where it says default for post type, currently index, I pulled this from my site. My current default is yes, go ahead and index whatever post or whatever page I create, okay? 9 times out of 10, that's what I want to happen. If for some reason though, let's say I write a blog post and it's not really something that I want to rank for, it's not something that I want in the index, it's just some little announcement like, oh hey, I'm moving my site over to this other place, or I don't know, it's for a business making an announcement like, oh, we just opened a new office in Dallas. Maybe that's not something that you want to show up in the index. You can now index it right here, okay? And then follow and no follow is the bots are going to be able to follow links to that post, or if you say no follow, they will not. And that starts getting into ranking and backlinks, and we're not going to go there. So let's just talk about the Meta Robots index at the top. If you click on that drop down, the two options you'll see there are index and no index. So every time you create a page or a post, you can, right here, without having to go into your robots file each and every time, indicate whether you want this post to be indexed or not. Now, it does not give you an option for disallow. So if for some reason you're creating a page that you don't want to be crawled at all, you are going to have to go into your robots file and do that manually, okay? This only gives you the index or no index option, but it's just another way to do it. I think, yeah, and then I've got some resources that this presentation, I think it already is available on the Meetup site that Yusuf was talking about. It's meetup.com / SIA online marketing.
Yes.
Right. So if you join that group, there's a tab for files. This presentation is in there now, so you'll be able to get access to all of these resources. I did put a couple of Yoast blog posts in there, some stuff directly from Google, and then there's the last one is just more information about how to set up a robots file. Let me also back up for a second, and when I was talking about setting up a robots file being up to you, what you want to appear, how you want your site to be indexed, what pages you want to share and which ones you don't. One thing that you can do when you're learning is to look at other sites' robots files. And it's usually going to be accessed, if they have one, if they're not just using MetaRobots, if they have a robots file, you'll go to the site, the root domain, .com/robots.txt, and it should bring it right up. That's not a bad idea to see how other people are using that file and to see what they're including and what they're leaving out. But I'll give you a caveat. Before you just copy and paste it into yours thinking, well, you know, this is a good site and it's pretty popular and they know what they're doing, so I'm just going to put this right in mine. Be very careful before you do that. And the reason why, let me tell you. It may even be in one of those articles from Yoast that I included, but I know there is a post on his site where he talks about what he decided to start putting in his robots file and why. All of those examples that I showed you, all of those things, he leaves all of that out. There is one subfolder that he excludes, and I'm pretty sure it's disallowed as opposed to no index in his robots file, and that is the subfolder, it's /go. That is the subfolder where all of his affiliate links reside, okay? Because he doesn't want his affiliate stuff crawled. Affiliates are very protective about their affiliate codes, their affiliate accounts, so that's the only thing that he excludes. He lets Google into his login page, he lets it into his WP content, into his privacy pages, everything. Google can see everything on his page. That's the only thing that he has decided to exclude for his own reasons. So before you do that, if you were to go and say, well, it's Yoast, I mean, he knows what he's doing, right? This is, you know, he's a pretty big deal in the SEO world. He knows what he's talking about. I'm just going to copy that and put it in on my site. Okay, well, do you have a subfolder labeled Go on your site? Probably not, unless you are also masking your affiliate links with the same name. And there are some plugins that's what they use by default, is Go. So if you don't have that subfolder and you copy that into your robots file, you've done nothing. You may as well have just put allow everything, because there is no subfolder called Go on your site to be disallowed, so everything else is allowed. So be very careful when you go and look at someone else's robots file to see how to do this before you just copy and paste, figuring they must know what they're doing. That's, you know, there's a reason why they did that. So learn a little bit, figure out what pages you want to appear and why, which pages you don't want to appear and why, and make sure that you, if you decide to use, and this is the other thing, you don't have to use a robots file at all if you don't want to. I do recommend it. Have you guys ever seen, have you ever gone to Google and searched, and instead of a description, it'll say, the description cannot be displayed because of an issue with this site's robots.txt file? I see that sometimes. You don't want that to happen. You want your meta descriptions to show up because, as I said, that's how you get people to click through and come to your site. And there's no point in having a website if nobody's going to come to it. Okay, so you don't have to use this at all. I do recommend that you do. You don't have to exclude anything if you don't want to. I think it's probably a good idea, depending on what pages you have on your site. But again, learn a little bit more about how this works and why and what to do with it, and then before you just throw something in and make sure you know why you're using each command and each, whether you're disallowing or no indexing each and every page. Okay? Yes?
So the robots file sits on the Google?
Yes, it does.
Okay. And then, I know you mentioned this is one small part of it is a big amoeba.
Yeah, that's good, amoeba.
What would you suggest, let me get my question right. What would you suggest, like the top 5 things?
To learn about SEO?
Yeah, if we're gonna start looking at SEO.
Just come to my classes.
Oh, gosh.
So we go top 12, it's the first 7 to attend every class.
I did a couple of times seminar on SEO for 6 hours for beginners.
Oh my goodness.
So if you want, I can repeat it. You just have to ask, and we'll do it again.
Let's see.
I think the first thing when it comes to SEO, really, you have to understand your audience, your target market, your customers, understand what kind of problem you're going to solve for them, like in terms of service and product. Then you do a keyword research and you optimize, you do the on-site SEO. Like you optimize the pages for, like how Michelle said, the meta tag and the description, and make sure there's no broken links. Make sure you have a Google Analytics installed, Google Webmaster Tool. When all those pages are optimized, you have to submit it to Google for indexing. Then after that, you work on the content marketing and link building and promotions and social media and all the stuff to get the traffic for conversion. But
Before you do, I agree with everything you just said. Before you do any of those other things, think about content marketing and social media and all those things, sort of like inviting people over to your house, okay? You're probably going to want to make sure that your house is picked up and neat and clean before you start inviting people over. That's your site optimization. That's your on-site optimization is what it's called, okay? On-site optimization, there are 2 parts of it. There's what you can see, and then and when I say you, I mean both you and your visitors, and then there's the back end that the visitors don't see unless they're like me and they're nosy and they do the view page source and they can see all your code. Back end is going to be stuff like your title tag. That is number 1. Make sure that your title tags are optimized, okay? And along, hand in hand with that, goes the meta descriptions, which, as I said, and I want to stress this, they do not contribute to your ranking, but they do contribute to your click-throughs, okay? So title tag and meta description kind of always go hand in hand because those are the 2 things that show up on a SERP. Let me go back up.
Speaking of SERP, what is SERP?
Search engine results page.
the front page. It's a fancy name for the front page.
There it
of
is.
Google.
Okay. So this is a SERP, search engine results page. These are the results that you get from the search engine when you search for something. This is coming from their title tag. This is the meta description. Okay? That's why those are very important because those are what people see when they search. That's what's going to get them to click through. Okay? Title tag contributes to ranking, so you want it to be optimized with keywords. Meta description, never a bad idea to have keywords in your meta description as well. Not, totally necessary, but you want it to be compelling. You want it to be something that people are going to click through. Try to stay away from the sales and click now, visit today, call now, and all that stuff. That's going to turn people off. It's infomercially. Be descriptive. Another thing is those are limited by, they have character limits. Title tag
70 on the
is-
title tag, not more than 70.
No, that's way too much. It's like 55 to 60.
Really?
Yeah, title tag is 55 to 60 characters. Meta description is 155 to 160, or possibly 150 to 155.
Around 160, less than
somewhere there.
160.
Less than 160. That said, I usually bump it down by 5 more characters because a couple years ago, Google changed the font in their search results pages. So, you know, a letter I takes up less space than a letter O. So it used to be very specific that, okay, it was this many characters. When they changed the fonts, that kind of messed with all of that stuff. So conventional wisdom was 155 to 160 characters in meta description, 55 to 60 in title tag. I bump it down by 5. I usually try to keep the title tag about 50 and meta description about 150. So that's number 1 importance. Number 2 is going to be, again, in your on-site optimization, your header tags. These serve 2 purposes, okay? On a blog post, let's just use that as an example. When you put headers for different sections, excuse me, that makes it easy for people to skim, because especially if you, exactly, yeah. You know, you're going to have people who read every single word of it from beginning to end, and they comment, and you know, they're doing everything. Then you've got those people who their attention span is about this long, yeah, and you know, they're just going to skim through and see what catches their eye, and do I want to stop and read that? Okay, so that's the first purpose. The second purpose is for search. You want your header tags to be optimized with keywords as well, if possible, okay? Because now we're also getting into content optimization, which it's a fine line between the technical side of content optimization and the artistic side of it. Yes, you want keywords in your headers if possible, but if it makes it sound weird and it doesn't fit, then no, don't do it, okay? Because you want your content to be organic and to sound good and to be enjoyable to read. You don't want it to be, you know, blah blah keyword, blah 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 keyword, and somebody reading it is like, what is this? Why, you know, this doesn't make any sense. Okay, so
images.
Keep that fine line in mind. So that's 2 things. Number 3, yeah, images and video, because those things are becoming very important, especially in social media. So this is part of your planning for that content marketing and social media. Once you get your house in order and you're going to start sharing and start bringing people in, you need to have some visual content to share, okay? So images, and you also want those images to be optimized as well. Yes?
Okay, so the ad should look like the search. But no, the search should look like the ad. See how it's
That's what Google
Absolutely.
did.
property casualty.
Yep. Yeah, they've got a really good PPC person, but whoever was doing their organic SEO was kind of dropped the ball.
And not just that, Google AdWords, they made a lot of changes. Because before, it used to be yellow background. So they removed it because people know they don't click on that section. So we're going to trick them, make it look like it's not advertising.
Yep.
But it's actually
They
advertising.
do have that little gold box that says ad on it because they're
Yeah.
required to do so by the FTC. But yes, they did try to make it look
Yep.
more
And it's
like
working.
an organic serve.
And it's working.
Because then they get people, that's how they make money.
And it's working
Google,
very well.
Make no mistake,
Yeah.
Google's primary business model, they are an advertiser, period.
There is a question.
That's how they make their money.
There's a question. What about macro tagging?
Macro tagging.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to get into macro tagging.
Okay. Sorry.
We're focusing, no, that's okay. Just like I said, I wanted to focus on robots, and then this is a really good question, is the 5 most important things for SEO, which we've gone through 3. What do we have? What are the 3?
You got title tag and meta description, header tag, and images and video.
Okay. Header tag, not header tag alone, but content optimization as a whole, okay? Those just stand out. So content optimization, you also want to have keywords in your content as well, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a website that sells wallets, the word wallet is going
Has
to
to
appear
be there.
somewhere because
Yeah.
that's what you sell. But what you don't want to do is, when you want to buy a leather wallet online, the best site to buy leather wallets online is our Leather Wallet Online site, because leather wallets online, oh my gosh, no, stop.
Keyword
don't do
stuffing.
that. Yeah, keyword stuffing, you're going to get dinged for that. So again, like I said, there's a fine line between the technical and the artistic, okay? So content optimization is, as a whole, with the header tags included, that's going to be your 3rd thing. No, wait, that was the 2nd. What do we have? Images was 3rd. Okay, title tag, meta description, and content and on-site optimization, and then images. Number 4, it's really hard to say what's more important than another.
I think those are the most important because the other option, like the outbound link, is optional. That's not a must. It depends. But you do need to follow the Google Webmaster guideline. So there is a website called Varvy, V-A-R-V-Y, I think. I think like Barbie, but it's called Varvy. Patrick Saxton is the one that created it. So what it does, you put your website and it will tell you whether you're following the Google Webmaster standard or not. If something is missing, it will tell you how to fix it.
Actually, I am going to give you the fourth and fifth.
Mhm.
Most important, okay? Mobile responsive.
Oh, yes.
Your site has to be mobile responsive. Has to be. What I was saying earlier about, some of SEO is subjective. No, this one has to. Probably about, last time I checked the stat, it was like 46% of people in the United States use a mobile device. And it's for everything from surfing the web to, Facebooking, to finding a place to eat, to, yes, reading news and blogs. So your site has to be mobile responsive. And then the other important thing is page speed.
Oh, yeah.
Very important.
What?
Page speed.
Page speed, page load speed. If someone comes to your site and you haven't optimized, and when I say optimize images, there are two ways to optimize your images, okay? The first one is to make sure that the image is compressed enough that it doesn't take up too much room on your site and that it loads quickly. The other type of optimization for your images is going to be keyword optimization, if it's applicable, okay? So if someone comes to your site and you haven't optimized your images and they're doing that thing where it's like it loads and then the next line loads and then
Progressive.
they're going to leave. Yeah, they're going to bounce out, okay? It's taking too long. The other thing that's going to happen is Google now considers page speed to be a ranking factor.
Mm-hmm.
So if Googlebot comes by and is like, holy cow, this page is taking forever to load, I'm not going to wait around for this, and also, while I'm at it, I'm going to rank this page way down here because it's just taking too freaking long to load. Okay?
Michelle, just quickly, we're not going to talk about this, but the person in Periscope who asked that question, he was talking about the schema. So schema,
okay,
so
schema.
yeah, that helps, but that's a different story. Okay, so that's a different thing.
Again, that's
so he was right. The schema microdata helps, but that's a little bit technical. So we'll do a class on that.
Right. Yeah. And if you are curious and you want to learn a little bit more about schema on your own,
Schema.org. Mm-hmm. Go to schema.org.
Mm-hmm. Schema is very helpful. Again, it's very helpful for local SEO,
Mm-hmm.
which again, getting to those brick and mortar businesses that want people to walk in the door and do business with them. Is it schema? Wait, what is it? What's it called? Where you get the star reviews and the results? It's not schema. It's something markup.
Yeah, it's a highlight markup, something like that. Highlight. I know Webmaster Tool has that feature. It's called highlight markup.
I can't think of the name. There's a name for it.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So there are other ways that you can mark up. If you're a restaurant and you want you're a 5-star restaurant, or you have 5 stars on Yelp and you want that to show up in your search result, there's a way to do that with markup on your site. I can't remember what the name of it is right now. Anyway, so like I said, there's a ton of stuff out there that you can do with your website to optimize it. Those 5, okay?
Yeah.
Title and meta description. What did we say?
Edit content,
On-site, right, on-site content, images and video,
mobile responsive.
and page speed. And title tag is always going to be number 1. The rest of them are like, those four things are number 2. Okay? You're welcome.
And if you're part of the meetup, all the presentation is there. So if you want to check the SEO presentation, it's all there. So you can go and check it out.
So what creates that 6-pack?
Those are called site links, and that is available. It's a really good question. I'm glad you brought that up. If you go into, it used to be called Google Webmaster Tools. It's now called Search Console. Everybody still calls it Webmaster Tools.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you that because if you hear someone say Webmaster Tools or Google Webmaster Tools, that's why. Google changed the name. Everybody's still calling it. Okay. So like let's say that they didn't want Contact Us to show up in the number 1 spot. They want it down here. You cannot let me be clear about this. You cannot say, I want this to be number 1 and this to be number 2 and this to be number 3. If you could do that, if you could manipulate Google that way, we would all be a lot richer than we are right now. Okay? It's not possible to do that. What you can do is demote a page. So if they wanted to contact us to show up lower, they can say, Google, please go and demote this page in site links. Maybe next time it'll show up in number 2. Maybe it'll show up in number 6. Don't know what's going to happen. So that is something that you can kind of work with Google on is, demote these pages in my site links. And I want to say, I'm not sure that you can promote.
I don't think so.
Conversely, I think it's only demote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't see that
It's been a while
option.
since I looked at
Google
that.
what? Google search.
Google Webmaster 2.
Yeah.
It's
Search
called
Console.
it's called right now Google Search Console. It's the same thing. Just go ahead and Google Webmaster 2.
Google console.
Yes.
It's the
Search
same thing.
Console. Google
Search
Search
Console.
Console.
Yes.
Mhm. And the section that you want to look at is site links. It's all one word. SITELINKS.
So a little while ago, you were inside a window within WordPress. You don't have to go there.
Okay.
If you're not using WordPress, you just code the file and you drop it onto the server.
You would
Mhm.
load it via FTP that
Yep.
way. Yep.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Is suppose that I am the owner of that site, Google, okay, and I want to put down or disallow only one page, like open positions. Can I go and the coding and doing this and cut off the open positions?
Sure.
Even that after it's already 6 pack there?
Oh yeah. No, absolutely.
I mean,
That's-
it's okay.
Yeah, and this is part of what's going to help you determine what pages to disallow and or no index, I should say, sorry. So if this is your site and you think you've gone and you've done all your optimization and you think it's, it's all set and you're good to go, and then you search for it and you're like, oh crap, my careers and open positions are showing, which they shouldn't even have 2 pages like that, but anyway, let's just say, you're like, oh, I only wanted careers to show up, I didn't want open positions.
Yeah.
Yes, you open up
I
your
don't
robots,
want open
you
position
disallow
because
open positions.
It's a duplicate
Right.
meaning of the page.
Right, it might not be a duplicate page, it might have different information, but yes, you don't want it to show up, so you go into your robots, you disallow open positions, it'll take a little while.
Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah, but you can also, once you have updated your robots, you can go into Google Analytics, or is it Search Console?
Search Console. Fetch as
It's
Google.
also Search Console.
Fetch as Google.
Fetch as Google,
Then
yes,
they'll take care of it.
Thank you. Then you also go into Search Console, tell Google, go and fetch my site again, because I just updated my robots
Yep.
file. It'll go and look at it, and then again, it'll still take a little bit for it to populate in the SERP, but maybe 24, 48, 72 hours later, hopefully you will see that open positions page is gone from your 6-pack. Yes.
Is that a function of updating the robots file, or are you explicitly telling the Search Console to re-index your page?
You're telling Search Console, you're telling Google to go and crawl your page again.
No, you're
crawl.
just telling them to crawl the page. It doesn't really matter what you did to it.
Well, no, it doesn't matter.
No, I know it matters to us, but Google doesn't care. You're just telling it to re-index your page, right?
What do you mean by Google doesn't?
Well, when you said that to put in there that, hey, I changed my file, you're not having to explicitly give Google.
Oh,
a
no,
reason. You're just
I'm
saying
sorry, no.
re-index.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
No, it's because you
So I was
have made
hoping
a
maybe
change
there was
to
a
it.
way to get them to do it faster. So I'm like,
Good luck.
Yeah.
There's
Again,
no way.
if you can find a way to get Google to index
Right.
stuff faster, you're going to be a rich man.
So
But
how
no,
do I-
it's a button that you click, and you tell it, that's exactly what it says, fetch as Google.
Yeah.
And so Google deploys its bots again, goes and
And
looks at your site.
the cool thing about that feature, because if you don't use Fetch as Google, let's say you made the update, it might take like a month, and you look at it's still the same misspelling words, but if you do the Fetch as, within a week it's updated.
Right.
So that's what you need to
Yeah,
use.
because the difference is waiting
Yeah.
for the Googlebot to come by again whenever it's your turn. Right, exactly. And with the number of pages that are on the internet, it's going to be quite a while.
Yeah.
So when you do that, it's telling Google, hey, go look at my site again. Doesn't matter why. It doesn't matter if it's because you changed your robots file or you added a page or you changed the name of your site, whatever, anything that you did to your site, and you want it to start showing up in the SERPs that way, tell it fetches Google, and then it'll
Even the
update.
content, if you change or
Yes.
shorter or
I wouldn't
Depends.
do it if like every time you publish a blog post. No, that's overdoing it. more things that have to do with the structure of your site, the structure or the more base
New
part of your site. Like I
service.
said, your site name.
Yeah.
But every time you publish a post now, you
Too
should
much.
have ping services for that anyway.
Yeah. But if you change the page like a new service, new something on the service page, like you added like a lot
Right,
of product,
something that's
then you
important
can
to your
fix
business.
that page.
Yeah.
Can you cheat in the code instead of?
Ah, la 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 la! I didn't hear that. No.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, because we're learning coding, so instead of having a robots TXT, you can just put it in the
Go to the
HTML or.
Black Hat SEO forum.
Yeah, like I said,
Then they'll
then
teach
you're
you.
getting into meta robots, which is in the code instead of having this separate file.
So that's a whole nother.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. I'm
Yeah,
done
I don't want to
with
get out of this because if you go to the Art Institute website and do a view source,
Mhm.
you'll see it in there. Meta robots name, and then
Yeah.
Meta robots. I think it was description as well.
Mhm.
So the Art Institute site is using meta robots instead. It's right there in the code, in the head code.
All right, are we done?
I think yeah.
Okay.
And do you guys have any other questions?
We're waiting
Is there
for me
anything
before
that? What's that?
They're waiting for me before that.
No.
Okay.
Does everything that we went through make sense? to
All right,
you
folks.
guys?
Thank you all for waiting tonight.
Thanks, Clippers.
Yeah, just 1 second. Let me see. Bye bye.
Give Yusuf some hearts.
Okay. All right. If y'all need the links, just let me know, tweet the information, and I'll go and send you a link from Michelle. Okay. Thank you all for waiting. Appreciate it. Thank you.